Biology, the word comes from Greek bios, meaning life, and logos, meaning thought or science of, can be defined as the study of various aspects of living beings, plants and animals. Biology is the study of life from the simplest forms of plants and animals, including one-celled animals and algae, to highly complex structures of the human being. It includes the study of how organisms are structured as well as how they function and relate to each other. Biology is also called life science as it makes to understand how living things perform their life activities and interacts with the other living and non-living things. Pure biology is concerned with gaining fundamental knowledge of the subject and studied only for better understanding of natural phenomenon. It has no direct practical application in human welfare. Applied biology is related to well-being of mankind and is directly beneficial economically. Main branches of biology are botany, zoology, and microbiology. Highly organized complex entities. If you zoom in on any living thing, you don't just find random atoms, you find a precise hierarchy. It starts with tiny atoms which build into molecules, then organize into organelles which make up the cell. Cells group together to form tissues, tissues form organs, organs build organ systems, and finally you get the complete organism. Life is structured, composed of one or more cells. This is the functional unit of life. We classify organisms into two main groups here: unicellular like bacteria, just one single cell doing everything; multicellular like plants or animals like that cat in the image. They have trillions of specialized cells working together, contain genetic program. Where does the blueprint for all that organization come from? We have chromosomes made of DNA and specific segments called genes. Your genetic code is essentially an instruction manual that dictates your inherited traits and expressed characteristics. Now let's look at how living things keep themselves going. This is where the energy and chemistry come in. Acquire and use energy. All life requires energy. As you see in this diagram, energy comes in as an input either from the sun for plants or from food for animals. The body processes this energy, stores a portion of it in a molecule called ATP, and then uses that stored energy to do work like moving or growing. This is a constant flow, carry-out, control chemical reactions. This process is called metabolism. It's not enough to just have chemicals, you have to control them. We use special proteins called enzymes to guide chemical reactions. Notice the two main pathways here. Catabolism, breaking down large molecules to release energy. Anabolism, building up larger complex molecules that the body needs. It's a delicate balance of breakdown and build-up. Grow in size, life grows. It's not just getting bigger, it's a specific process. It involves cell division, mitosis, and organismal growth, going through a life cycle from a fertilized egg to a juvenile to an adult. This involves both an increase in cell number and an increase in mass. Maintain constant internal environment. This is what we call homeostasis. Even when the outside world changes wildly, living things need to keep their internal conditions stable. Look at this feedback loop. A stimulus, like a change in temperature, is detected by a sensor that sends a signal to a control center like your brain, which then tells an effector to respond, like sweating to cool down. It's a constant self-correcting loop. Produce similar offspring. Life must be able to reproduce to ensure the species continues. As we see here, this can happen in two ways: asexual, like binary fission in bacteria, simply dividing to make a copy; sexual, involving the fusion of parents' gametes, fertilization to create a unique zygote, which then develops into offspring, respond to changes in their environment. Last, but certainly not least, living things react. We call this sensitivity and behavior. A stimulus is any change in the environment, a touch, a chemical, or light. The organism responds with some kind of action. A plant's response might be phototropism, bending toward the light, while an animal's might be a reflex, like a cat pulling its paw back from a hot surface. So the next time you see a rock, a cloud, or a leaf, ask yourself, does it have a genetic code? Does it metabolize energy? Does it maintain homeostasis? One of the most fundamental unifying concepts in all of biology, the relationship between structure and function. The rule is simple, but its implications are vast. Biological structures are built specifically to perform the task required for survival. Nothing in biology exists by accident. Every shape, every layer, and every connection has a purpose. We can say quite literally that form follows function. Let's explore this concept using the three excellent examples shown in our diagram, moving from the microscopic world up to the macroscopic level of a whole organism. For Frauji, level 1, the cellular level, mitochondria, the structure, anatomy. Let's look at example 1. Here we have a mitochondrion, the power plant of the cell. Look at its anatomy. It has a double membrane system, an outer smooth membrane and an inner membrane. The most striking structural feature is the highly folded inner membrane, which creates finger-like projections called cristae. The function, physiology. Why build such a complex wrinkled membrane? It serves a specific physiological purpose, ATP production. The inner membrane is the site of the electron transport chain. By folding the membrane, the cell dramatically increases the surface area available to house the molecular machinery needed for cellular respiration. The takeaway: more surface area means more space for reactions, which means more ATP energy can be produced for the cell. For Prausching level 2, the organ level, lungs and alveoli, the structure, anatomy. Now let's zoom out to example 2. The organs involved in breathing, specifically we are looking at the alveoli, the tiny air sacs in the lungs. They appear as a cluster of microscopic bubbles. They are constructed of thin squamous epithelium, meaning they are only one cell thick. They are surrounded by an extensive capillary network, tiny blood vessels wrapping around every sac. The function, physiology: the structure here is optimized for one main job, gas exchange. The body must take in oxygen and expel carbon dioxide. Because the membrane is only one cell thick, the diffusion distance is incredibly short. The cluster of thousands of tiny alveoli creates a massive surface area relative to the volume of the lung. The takeaway: the combination of short diffusion distance and high surface area allows oxygen to quickly move into the blood and carbon dioxide to quickly move out. This is how we breathe efficiently. For Prausching level 3, the organismal level, bird wings, the structure, anatomy finally. Let's look at example 3, a complex system, the bird wing. The skeleton is structurally modified for lightness. We see pneumatized hollow bones which are light but strong. The bones of the hand and wrist are fused into the carpo metacarpus, creating a rigid, secure framework. The feathers are arranged in a specific shape to create an airfoil. The function, physiology: this entire structure is engineered for one thing: flight. The light hollow bones make the organism light enough to become airborne. The fused bones provide the strength needed to withstand the forces of flapping. The airfoil shape of the feathers generates lift through aerodynamics, just like an airplane wing. The takeaway: every component of the wing, from the hollow bone to the curved feather, is designed to reduce weight and maximize aerodynamic efficiency for powered flight. Conclusion: this concept that structure follows function applies to every level of biological organization. When you look at a biological image, ask yourself, 1. What does the shape of this structure allow it to do? 2. How does the anatomy support the physiology, whether it's a folded membrane producing energy, a thin sac exchanging gas, or a hollow bone enabling flight? Biology demonstrates that form is never random. It is the blueprint of purpose.